What is up, investors? Jason here. So we're going to be talking about Cardano again. Now, I know I've been talking about Cardano a lot lately, but you guys seem to really like this content, so I'm going to keep it going. And plus, it's my favorite altcoin anyways. And now, what's currently going on with Cardano? Now, last I reported that the Vasil Hard Fork has been deployed on the testnet. Now, what's going on with the Vasil Hard Fork? What does this mean for Cardano? So let's cover that now. Let's do a little bit of a technical analysis on the price. Let's also talk a little bit about what the influence of Bitcoin has on the price of ADA right now. And could we see Bitcoin also go down a little bit more, taking ADA with it? But let's mostly cover what is going on with the Vasil Hard Fork. What does this mean for Cardano? So as we get to it, if you don't mind, please do me a huge favor. Please be sure to smash Destroy Annihilate or gently press that like button to help me out with the algorithm, help spread the content to more people that might find it interesting, and subscribe if you have not already. Now let's get to it. So let's first jump into the technicals here. What we're seeing with ADA at this moment, we just saw the ADA bounce off of that 44-cent support. Now we've been seeing multiple tightening up here within the price of ADA between 50 cents and 44 cents. That's what we've been seeing lately. Now we've been able to bounce off of these different prices multiple times, but as you can see, we are kind of trending downwards here right now. So are we going to be able to keep that support at that 44-cent price, or is ADA going to drop a little bit lower? Now I'm expecting that we're not going to be falling much more lower than 40 cents with the current bottom that we probably could have hit. Now I know people are saying that we could see the bottom go down much lower than that. They could see it going down to 30 cents. And of course that is possible. It really depends a lot on what the price of Bitcoin is going to be doing. But if we look over at Bitcoin right now, we've been seeing Bitcoin manage to hold above the price of $19,000. And like I've mentioned many times before in the past, this is also an area that Bitcoin had surged a lot after it had passed that $19,000 in December of 2020. But not only that, going back even further, when we look at where it had found a large area of resistance back in December of 2017. Now, keep in mind that this is a peak price that Bitcoin was at after a halving that Bitcoin had in July of 2016. So the fourth quarter of 2017, Bitcoin had reached a high at that time, and then the price had dropped down a bit. And then after the next halving that Bitcoin had reached in May of 2020, then the year after, in the fourth quarter of that year, Bitcoin had reached a new all-time high. Now it's fallen to a level of support that was the peak price from the previous halving. So, of course, it's possible to see the price of Bitcoin drop into lower values than it is right now. But a lot of people are claiming the price of Bitcoin can even go down to $8,000. But the scarcity of Bitcoin is a lot of what drives the price. So dropping Bitcoin down below a price where it was at during the 2020 halving is really, really, really hard to do. So with that information, how much more negative impact could the price of Bitcoin have on the price of ADA? And that is just waited to be seen. Now, looking over at the ADA USD chart, we have ADA climbing really close back up to that 20-day moving average line. So what ADA really needs to be doing is it needs to get over that 50-cent price. There's a lot of resistance actually at that 50-cent price. So if ADA's managed to get over that, then it's going to be a bit more interesting to see what can happen, because we'll be then trading between the 50 and 60-cent resistance at that time. Now, let's look over at the ADA Bitcoin chart, because this is very important. Showing this again here, we are trading just underneath that 200-day moving average at this time. We keep touching that 200-day moving average, but we're not getting over that at this time. Now, we do have the 20-day moving average that has already surpassed the 100-day moving average, and this is where things are really worth paying attention to at this time. Now, over at the ADA Ethereum chart, what we have is we are trading along the 20-day moving average line, which is actually above the 200-day moving average line, and the 50-day moving average line is now above the 200-day moving average line. So things are moving along very nicely here, and this is all stuff that we want to see. This is all bullish stuff with the price of ADA that we need to see. So things are looking good for Cardano when you look at it in this sort of way. Now, about the Vasil Hard Fork. Now, the upgrade is named to honor the late Vasil Saint Debab, a Cardano ambassador who sadly passed away in 2021. Now, the Vasil Hard Fork will be bringing improvements to smart contracts And the upgrade is part of the Basha phase of the Cardano roadmap, which focuses on scaling and network and ledger optimization, and will also bring multiple improvements to the ledger. The upgrade will implement widely anticipated features such as diffusion pipelining and upgrades to Plutus, which is Cardano's core smart contract language. There will be a number of new cryptographic primitives that will be provided, and script validation processes will further see adjustments and optimizations, contributing to consistency in block propagation times and higher transaction processing rates. So the community will now have a period of 4 weeks following the testnet hard fork to allow SPOs, developers, and exchanges to test and upgrade before the Cardano mainnet hard fork. So if all that goes well, then the main concern is to ensure that the upgrade process is facilitated in a safe and secure manner. Once developers and SPOs are comfortable and ready, and the lion's share of exchanges have completed testing and updated, the Vasil Hard Fork can occur. So that's the basic information about the Vasil Hard Fork and what's currently going on. Now looking over at the current total value locked of Cardano, which is increasing. We're now at 317 million ADA tokens total value locked right now. So we are seeing this news start to really accumulate more of the total value locked. So this is all great news. So it looks like that the reaction right now is all positive. Now, of course, we're going to have to wait and see how things do play out. Now, if the Vasil Hard Fork is going to be taking 4 weeks on the testnet, who knows exactly when it's going to launch? Is it going to actually come out at the end of July, or is it going to come out in the beginning of August? And of course, that is as long as everything does go well with it. But things seem to be going well with it right now, so we'll have to see how time does progress here. And also, we'll have to see how things do develop as far as the price of ADA goes, because we know how the crypto market is. We could be very bullish on it, and things could just turn a different direction. But it doesn't really matter to me what the price of ADA goes to at this moment. As long as it stays at these low prices, I'm going to continue to accumulate more, especially if the price was going to drop lower than it is. Then I'm going to just accumulate more for less money. But anyways, I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions of all this. So please like, share, comment, subscribe. New content coming out all the time. Thank you guys for watching and listening. I'll see you all in the next one coming very soon.